Guess what, y'all? I'm back. This that boy Bow Leg and C Bill ain't even come visit me yet. That's it, home. That's it, home.
There is a place in the state of Georgia where no criminal ever wants to go. That place is called Alto State Prison, formerly Lee Arrendale in Alto, Georgia. If you come here, you surely won't make it out.
Stay tuned for Tales from the Toe.
Alto Prison. Bill Feezzyy's guy, Bowleg, drinks Coffin Coffee. In the depths of Alto State Prison, where time moved at a sluggish pace and danger lurked around every corner, there resided a man known as Bowleg. Hailing from the mean streets of Detroit, by way of Kalamazoo, Michigan, Bowleg carried with him a swagger born of hardship and a reputation built on tall tales.
Bowleg was no stranger to the allure of the streets. In his younger days, he had run with the infamous BMF crew, or so he claimed. His stories of glory and wealth painted a picture of a life lived on the edge, a life of power and prestige. Due to being in a Georgia prison, he knew that no one down south would know him, or that he was lying through his stained teeth, so he continued exaggerating, making himself sound like a kingpin when he was out on the streets.
But behind the bravado lay a man trapped in the confines of his own making. Prison walls surrounded him, a constant reminder of the choices that had led him down this path. Yet even in the darkest of places, Bowleg clung to the hope of redemption, a flickering flame in the abyss. It was in this environment that Bowleg found himself entangled in a web of deceit and betrayal. One fateful day, as his Detroit Lions faced off against the Atlanta Falcons on the prison TV screen, Bowleg made a wager with a fellow inmate. Confident in his team's abilities, Bowleg bet against the odds, convinced that victory was within reach. But fate had other plans, and as the final whistle blew, it was the Atlanta Falcons who emerged triumphant, crushing Bowleg's hopes and leaving him facing a debt he had no intention of paying. Refusing to accept defeat, Bowleg brushed off his loss, convinced that he could simply walk away from his obligations. But in the unforgiving world of prison, debts were not so easily forgotten. A month passed, and Bowleg's refusal to pay his football debt faded from his memory. It was then that the same inmate who had bested him in the bet approached him with an offer that seemed innocuous enough. He asked the wobbly bear of a man if he wanted a cup of coffee. Bowleg, a slave to his caffeine addiction, eagerly accepted the offer, unaware of the deadly trap that had been set for him. As he waited for his drink to be prepared, he chatted casually with the other inmates sitting around him in the dorm's day room, oblivious to the danger that lurked just around the corner. Unbeknownst to Bowleg, the revengeful inmate preparing his coffee actually laced the hot drink with a lethal concoction of deadly ingredients: toilet bowl water, micro pieces of several broken-down razor blades, small traces of poop, bleach, the guts of several large cockroaches, and any other thing that the inmate could get his hands on. Prison veterans called the brew an apt name, which was Coffin Coffee. After bringing the potbelly, Bowleg the steaming cup of death, the inmate sat in the corner of the day room, watching each sip, smirking as Bowleg unwittingly sealed his own fate, the poison coursing through his veins like a silent assassin. It wasn't long before the effects took hold, sending Bowleg into a downward spiral of agony and despair. He was writhing in pain, especially when he attempted to do a number one, and the bits of blades ripped through his pole. He was rushed to the prison infirmary, and then life-flighted to a general hospital, his life hanging in the balance as doctors fought desperately to save him from the brink of death, pumping his stomach repeatedly until all of the deadly ingredients of the Coffin Coffee were out of his body. In the end, Bowleg survived, though the scars of his ordeal would haunt him for the rest of his days. But as he lay in his hospital bed, staring up at the sterile ceiling above, he couldn't help but wonder how he had come to this point. If Michael Foster was with him in Alto, that shit wouldn't have happened, he thought to himself. Was it his own hubris that had led him down this path, or was it simply the cruel hand of fate dealing him a deadly blow in the game of life? Whatever the answer, one thing was clear. In the wild world of Alto State Prison, the price of betrayal was steep, and Bowleg had paid it in full.